Ellie McConnell depends on her wheelchair. She's one of the 600,000 disabled children in this country. In fact, there are over 8.5 million disabled people altogether. That's 1 in 7 of the population. They're disabled maybe because of an accident or injury, or, like Ellie, have been ever since they were born. But only 5%, that's 1 in every 20 disabled people, use wheelchairs, even though that's often the first thing that comes to mind when those of us who aren't disabled think about them. That's just one of the things many of us get wrong. There are plenty of others too. Former Grange Hill star Francesca Martinez is disabled. She has a condition called cerebral palsy. Since starting her new career as a stand-up comedian, she started to pick up top comedy awards.
This is true, right? I'm not kidding. I'm in the middle of this big shopping centre, minding my own business, when this security guard comes storming over to me. "Stop it," he shouts. "What are you talking about?" I said. "Stop taking the mickey out of how a disabled person walks." I looked right back at him. I am disabled. I always walk like a drunk. You should have seen his face. "Oh, you are disabled." It was so obvious I didn't match the poor, pathetic image he had in his head of what people with disabilities are supposed to look like. He just kept looking me up and down. He just couldn't believe someone with nice, fashionable clothes and makeup. I did look rather gorgeous that day, I must admit. Could be disabled. I ended up pitying him for being so silly. When I saw him again an hour later, I nearly stormed up to him and said, "Stop taking the mickey out of someone who is stupid." "Oh, sorry, you are stupid."
We've been to Scotland to talk to some disabled children in Glasgow about their lives and some of the problems they've had. It's hard to believe, but all of these children have also had to put up with pretty horrible things being done to them by other people, often other children. And we can find stories like this almost anywhere in Britain. We've agreed not to show their faces or give their real names, so let's call them Laura, Anne and Ross. We didn't want anything more to happen to them because they spoke out on television, but their stories are true. They all live with their disabilities, and then they've had to live with prejudice as well.
I feel sad because some of my cousins' friends actually think they shouldn't play with me because I'm in a wheelchair, and it doesn't feel very nice. And it makes you feel very sad because people don't want to do stuff with you or talk to you just because you've got this wheelchair, and they don't know what it feels like.
Basically what's wrong with me is the fact that I can't walk, which makes life harder, but you just need to find a way around it. There was this one time where I went to the doctors because I had staved my finger from when I was riding a horse. Instead of asking me where it was sore, he asked my mum. How is my mum supposed to know where it's sore in my body? I mean, nobody can do that unless they're telepathic or something. I think because he saw me in a wheelchair, if you see anybody in a wheelchair, you would think, well, I don't know what's wrong with them, so I don't know what to say to them.
I've got cerebral palsy, and it's like, it affects my balance, it affects my physical abilities. It's just my legs, nothing else. Some people call me names, some people like make fun of me, trip me up, push me over.
We've dramatised some of the things Ross told us happened to him.
There was this boy that used to be really nasty to me at one point. I mean, one time I just got a new ball and like he came over to get a game of football.
Oops, sorry. Yes, what a goal. Shot. Cheers.
Thanks. Got to go now, it's dinner time. Okay, see you.
You staying?
If you want.
Here.
Hey, that's a birthday present, use your own ball.
Hey, weird workers with birthdays too, just like normals. Come and get it, handicap. Come on. Here.
Stop it, please, just give me it back.
Come here, cripple! Come on. Weirdo.
I felt like lonely because they were only doing it when I was there. They would never, ever, ever pick on me when my friends were there, because my friends like would stick up for me. But if my friends had to go away or weren't there, they would pick on me. He thought he was like popular because he made fun of me. I don't really know. I think it was just because he was, well, not bad, but he just thought that he could.
Sometimes when disabled people believe they're unfairly treated, their stories hit the news. That happened to 15-year-old Tom White from Clitheroe in Lancashire, who has diabetes. Tom's school banned him from a school trip to France, apparently because of his medical problem, and said it would back teachers who felt unable or unwilling to take responsibility for looking after him.
I just think it's very unfair how all my friends are going on, but I just don't have the chance to take part. It makes me feel almost like they're trying to make me feel almost like a second-rate citizen, and I just see all my friends having fun on these trips and just feel upset that I can't join them.
It became a national debate. On one side, the argument for disabled people to be treated equally. On the other, that it's too much to expect those without special know-how to meet their special needs. The Disability Rights Commission, an important organisation set up in 2000, took up Tom's case. It aims to help everyone understand the rights and needs of disabled people like him and fight for their cause at home, at work and at school.
When I was at school, people would always want to ask me questions about my disability, like, why are you shaky? I'd always say, because when I was younger, I got struck by lightning and the effect never wore off. Do you wish you were normal? My answer was, no, because the world would be so boring if we were all disabled. Sometimes I would get annoyed at them and say, look, stop asking me questions and get on with teaching us, miss. Talk about nosy teachers. But I always tried to make people laugh, as I didn't want anyone to pity me just because I was rubbish at table tennis. I'm sure people wouldn't feel so sorry for me if they knew I couldn't do the dishes. I mean, most of us do feel a bit awkward and curious when we first meet someone who looks different. That's natural. After all, I had to learn that I could be friends with an Arsenal fan, for goodness sake.
Ross from Glasgow found he was dealing with more than curiosity. He was dealing with a persistent bully who just wouldn't leave him alone.
I can't ride a bike because my balance isn't very good. I have got a special adapted bike, it's a bike, but it's got 3 wheels like a tricycle. He calls it, I've got a wee baby's bike because it's like stabilisers on it, but it's not really, it's just got 3 wheels. He actually brought his bike over from his house just to annoy me.
Hi, handicap.
Hi.
Where's your bike, weirdo? Where's your baby's bike?
Didn't bring it.
Do you want to borrow mine? Handicap. Handicap.
Look, why are you getting on at me?
Because I want to. Because I can. And I want to. Not need. Handicap. 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 Not need. Weirdo. Handicap. Handicap. Not need. Weirdo.
So it made me feel really upset, but he kept on doing it because he liked it, really. He said, I can and I want to. He was making fun of me because I was disabled, and I goes, if I was just like you, if I wasn't disabled, would you like me? And he goes, aye.
There was once where people were playing rounders, and I've been told you can't do that because that's the way you are. And therefore, giving me another job I didn't want to do. And I said, but if you asked me, I could have tried it, and I might have been able to do it. I don't think that's right at all. I think people are quite careful about what they say to me because I'm in a wheelchair.
A lot of the times when I'm out in places, people stare. I know they stare because I look round and they look away. They don't know anything about me. They just think, well, because this person's in a wheelchair and they've got a disability, we shouldn't judge them as normal people. Would you like it if somebody didn't play with you or stared at you or said something to you? They wouldn't like it. I would just like them to try and think of other people's feelings.
Treating disabled people equally and respecting their special needs, it's a tricky balance. Some disabled children go to so-called ordinary schools and some go to special schools where they can cater for those special needs. Schools like Corsford near Johnston in Renfrewshire, where there are 70 pupils right through from nursery age to secondary level. Some live here during term time and others live at home and come in every day for lessons.
What are you going to be doing now? Could you tell me about what you're going to be doing now?
Spelling in sentences.
Okay.
The aim here is for children to learn what they can do and make as much as possible of their abilities.
I think the problem is that people see the aid first. They see the wheelchair first or a communication aid first. They don't see the person. And I think that's a great difficulty. I think there is that prejudice there. And they need to think about the person first and not what the disability is.
Paul and his classmates have been working together on an animated film that transforms leaves into forest creatures.
We walked and talked about the leaves and we took them into the secondary class. We looked through a magnifying glass. We called this magic forest.
It makes a point of the forest and what animals and things are in the forest and what happens in the forest, which shows us what kind of things are in a forest, because it's quite hard for us to go and see a forest. It's quite hard with our chairs and everything.
Everybody had a chance of doing everything. It was quite fun.
The school is run by Capability Scotland, which also campaigns on behalf of disabled people.
Brilliant.
The things that we can do are, first of all, try and make sure that the laws that we have in the country, which show us how to act, tell us what we can do and what we can't do, make sure that they take into account disabled people, so that, for example, people who might be looking at building maybe a new cinema realise that they have to make sure that somebody in a wheelchair can get into the cinema. The other thing that we can do is try and change attitudes.
Look, we're all different, right? And I mean all of us. People are people. There's things we can do and things we can't. Take me. I can get on stage in front of thousands of people and tell jokes. And I don't even get nervous. Well, apart from getting a few tickles in my stomach. But I can't cook, iron, carry heavy things, or, and this really breaks my heart, scrub the loo clean. No, it doesn't stink, if that's what you're wondering. My slaves take care of that. Mum and Dad hate me calling them that. Talking of my parents though, my dad gets so annoyed when the local school kids imitate the way I walk. He storms up to them, shouting, "No, this is how you do it." And let's stop judging each other on what we look like, which is the one thing we can't do anything about. Unless you're Michael Jackson or Cher, and look at them. But we can change our attitude. Beats a nose job any day.
We were out in the park because there's a park close to my house, and the same boy came over.
Hey, handicap, over here. Do you want a race?
Okay.
Right, to that tree and back, okay?
How tiny?
You're not going to beat me, slowpoke. No way.
On your marks, get set, go! Come on! Come on, Mom! Go, go! Come on, go, boss! Go! Come on, Scott! Come on! Nice one, Moss! Well done! Oi, give it back! Give him his watch back, Scott!
Catch you, cripple.
Thanks for the race! Slowpoke.
Shut it!
If he wins at something, he would go on champion, but I didn't do any of that. I'm an ordinary boy, I'm no different, so if people would just sit down and talk to people, they would know it's not like you're weird or not as if you're green or anything. I'm just a normal child. I have feelings. If people label me that girl in the wheelchair, that does hurt. You start to think there is something wrong with you, and then it stops you really from leading a normal life, because you think all the time when you go out, people are just gonna say stuff to you or stare at you and think that you're different than them, but you're not. You're just the same as them, but you have a wheelchair.
I'm good to say I don't miss walking because I've never really known it. What you don't have, you don't miss. I try and push myself to be the best person I can be, and what I've got I try and improve so that people say, "Hey, you're good at that. How can I help you be better?" Well, I'm going to do something that's going to make people think, she's in a wheelchair but she managed to do that. I don't want people to think, oh, she's in a wheelchair, she mustn't be able to do anything for herself, which is not true.
I would really want people to see me as I see myself, a normal human being, no different from anybody else. Everybody has their own personality, but that's the only thing I think makes me different is my personality, that's all.